Donald Trump campaigned on a promise to economically squeeze Iran into submission, aiming to use financial sanctions to dismantle the country's nuclear program for good. But Tehran countered with a move that changed the geography of the conflict. By blockading the Strait of Hormuz, Iran seized control of a choke point that handles 20% of the world's total oil supply. With the strait closed, Iran began demanding high-priced tolls. Any commercial vessels seeking safe passage now has to pay the Iranian government directly, effectively turning the world's most vital shipping lane into a private revenue stream. To avoid a total collapse of the global energy market, several nations have already begun paying these fees. These quiet capitulations show that, for many, the price of Iran's cooperation is cheaper than the risk of a global recession. This shift has stripped the United States of its primary regional leverage. Washington arrived to project strength, only to find itself unable to secure the very shipping lanes it traditionally policed. This naval stalemate has forced both sides into increasingly desperate maneuvers, unpredictable tactics that now threaten to ignite a full-scale regional war. To reclaim control, the Trump administration has proposed an aggressive naval response. By surging U.S. naval assets into the region, they intend to establish a physical presence that Iran cannot ignore. This strategy involves sealing both the entry and exit points of the strait. The goal is to trap any vessel that pays Iran's toll, preventing them from completing their journey and returning to international waters. As the tankers stop moving, the resulting economic friction creates an engineered global gridlock. Washington is banking on the idea that if the whole world feels the pain of a closed strait, the international community will eventually be forced to join a US-led effort to topple the Iranian blockade. However, the plan has already caused a rift among traditional allies. The British Prime Minister has explicitly refused to let the UK military participate, leaving the US Navy to attempt this encirclement without its most reliable partner. When the US tried to test this strategy unilaterally, it met immediate resistance. An American warship attempted to enter contested Iranian waters, but retreated after facing a series of direct warnings from Iranian coastal defenses. Facing the threat of an imminent missile barrage, the US vessel was forced to pull back, eventually dropping anchor in the Gulf of Oman to avoid a direct kinetic exchange. The attempt to economically isolate Iran through a counter-blockade has backfired. Instead of rallying a global coalition, the move has left the US Navy geographically and diplomatically isolated in the Middle East. As the American naval strategy stalls, Israel has moved to take the lead, pivoting from maritime disputes to the preparation of direct terrestrial strikes. Prime Minister Netanyahu has already placed the military on high alert and canceled national holidays, signaling to his citizens and the world that the country is on a war footing. Israeli planners have finalized an operational hit list that targets Iran's terrestrial energy reserves and its national infrastructure, the systems that provide the foundational power for the entire country. Despite the readiness of the Israeli Air Force, the operation remains in a holding pattern. Netanyahu is reportedly waiting for a final green light from the White House before initiating the strikes. But securing that approval may involve more than standard diplomacy. Allegations are surfacing that Israeli intelligence is using specific personal leverage to ensure the Trump administration remains fully committed to an Israeli strike. These reports suggest that Mossad has actively tracked individuals linked to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, using names and photographs of high-ranking officials to guarantee American military support. The claim is that this leverage makes it impossible for the US to withdraw its support for Israel's regional agenda. If these allegations are accurate, the power to decide the start of a regional war has shifted. The decision no longer rests with the planners at the Pentagon, but with those in Jerusalem. What began as a strategic effort to contain a nuclear program through sanctions has spiraled into the very real possibility of a wide-scale air and sea war. This crisis reveals a significant shift in the balance of power. When the primary naval force is forced into retreat and its allies refuse to follow, the era where a single nation dictates Middle Eastern security alone seems to be closing. Evidence of this shift is everywhere. Reliable European partners are now comfortable issuing official refusals to American military requests, signaling a break in the traditional chain of command. Simultaneously, Iran has demonstrated that it can successfully challenge American military presence and face no immediate consequences, effectively proving that the U.S. can be held at bay by regional missile capabilities. Even proxy partners like Israel are no longer taking direction from Washington. Instead, they are using every available lever to force the U.S. into a conflict it originally sought to manage through economic pressure alone. With alliances fractured and strike lists finalized, the region is waiting for a single signal. One green light from Washington is now all that stands between a fragile stalemate and a total descent into war.